Hello, good day, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm Deanne Castro, Creative Memories Advisor in Bakersfield, California, and I am excited to show you another scrapbook border today. I use several different colors, several different papers out of different collections, so you can see how versatile this border is. It is fun. It is really pretty easy, but it looks difficult, and it really isn't. I found this idea off of a greeting card and thought I'd change it into a scrapbook border. So if you're ready, let's move over to my desktop and check it out. Okay, here we go. This is the scrapbook border. This is the Croptoberfest. Okay, this one was done with the Croptoberfest paper. It's got the brown on the other side, and this is orange shimmer. Now, if you can see, I also used our new little embossing machine. Creative Memories came out with a little embossing machine that has 12-inch die embossing plates, and also the regular, I guess they're 6-inch, um, with exclusive little Creative Memories embossers. So this is one of them, and then there's another one that has um, cameras on it. So that's what I used on this one. I used the embellishments from the Croptoberfest and made it with this. I also have this one, which is also the Croptoberfest paper, and it's completely different from the bright orange. I really, really like these. These are so pretty. Just one embellishment in the middle here, one sticker in the middle here. And as you can see, they're different sizes. The difference in the sizing is where you're cutting the squares out of, because this one was made with 2¼ and 2-inch squares. This one was made with 2-inch and 2¼ inch squares, but this one looks quite a bit smaller. This one was made with the same size squares as this one, but what mattered is the distance in what I cut out the centers to make these little diamonds. So both of these were made with 2-inch and 2¼ inch squares, but this one is cut out at about 3/8 of an inch. This one's cut out at 1/2 of an inch. So I'll show that to you a little bit later. This one is out of the um, blue. I can't remember the name of the paperback, but it's got the vellum, and it's got the regular paper. Oh, wait a minute. This isn't blue. That's what I used. I used embellishments and stuff from, I think it's Q the Blue, and the vellum from Q the Blue. But the paper is just a different blue color that matched these different colors that I used. Oh, here's the camera one. I cut it in half, but there's the embossing for the camera. In another video, I'll show you that noodle machine because it's not permanent to the line right now. This was available to level 4 and 5 Creative Memories advisors as a vote box. And I believe that it will be voted into being permanent to the line. And when that happens, it will come out the first part of 2026, probably somewhere in that first quarter. So these were the samples that I made, and I absolutely love the Croptoberfest ones. I'm going to be using one, just a different paper that I pulled out of my scraps, and this is what I'm going to use. This is out of a nautical paper pack that we had, and it has fish on the other side. This is just a gold shimmer that I'm going to use down the middle of it. Okay, so let's get started. What I'm using today is a 2¼ inch piece. So I'm going to cut this at 2¼ inches. And this was a scrap that I just pulled out of my box. It just happened to be 4¼ inches, which is working perfectly for the different size squares that I need. This one is 2 1/4, and this one is 2 1/2. Now you can do it with two different sizes. So right now this is the 2 1/2 and 2 1/4 inch squares that I'm using, but you can also do 2 1/4 and 2 1/2 inch. Oh, I just did that twice. Here we go. 2 1/4, 2 1/2, 2 and 2 1/4. So these are the 2 and the 2 1/4. Okay. Sorry. Hope I didn't confuse you too much on that. But you can make them any size you want. Just to be able to have this amount of a reveal on them is making them 1/4 inch difference in size. So the smaller one is one size, the next one on behind it is just 1/4 inch bigger. Okay, so I'm going to cut 5 of the 2 1/4 inch squares. So you need 5 of them, of each of them. So 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so those are 2 1/4 inch. We won't use that little piece left over. These are 2 inches. Okay. There's 1, 2. So you can use this with any scraps that you have. If you have scraps that are not 12 inches long, but you've got multiples of the same color, feel free to use up your scraps. Okay, but we're going to have an extra one of these, so I don't need this one. Oops. So now what I want to do is I'm going to fold these into a triangle shape. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm just going to take end to end and fold it in exactly with the corners right here. Okay, and then I'm going to press it down. Okay, so you can see that these corners are really close together. It doesn't have to be super exact, but the closer you can get, the better your squares or your triangles are going to look. Okay, so it's straight along the edge. And by doing that, I just folded it straight up to the corner here. So let me do that again, because I'm going to need to do that on several of these. And this is the bottom. So I'm going to actually fold it the opposite direction. Okay, so here I've got the corners and I'm just going to make them completely match together. And that is going to make these edges right on the corners and makes them pretty exact. All right. I'm going to take this one, I'm going to turn it around because this one needs to be, this one's the bigger one. So it's the one I have underneath. Okay, do it again. Just take it, fold it exact on the corner. Just make the corners match exact, and then you'll be able to fold it across. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And this is the 2-inch one. So here again, I'm forcing these corners to match exactly. This one doesn't want to do it very well. Let me start over here and get these corners to match. So I'm going to have to push this up a little bit. It's arguing with me. There we go. That's better. Let's try it this way. Okay, now they match, and then just get the fold. So see, it didn't get exact here, and it could just be that I didn't cut it straight enough. So we're going to do that again on this one. Push it up, fold the edges down. There we go. That one's good there. That one's good there. I must not have this exact 2 inches exactly here. That one edge may not have been. Just going to trim it just a little bit. And this one just doesn't want to work exact, so I must not have exactly 2 inches. Yeah, this side's a little bigger. So you do need to have it exact, okay, to get the corners to match exactly for you. Okay, and there. Okay, so that one's exact as well. We have that one. Let me make sure these are all the 2 inches where I need them. That one is not. Okay, I'm gonna have to redo that one. Okay, 2 inches. That last piece was just a little big. Okay. You can, if you want, you get brave, put two together and fold them together. Saves you a little bit of time. Make that exact. So then your corners turn out exact. Okay. I can leave that together. And I've got a couple extras already done, so I'm not going to do those. Now, these I'm going to make the smaller one. So these I'm going to make this size. Okay, and it matters how you cut it to get the different sizes, even if you make the squares the same size. Now you start with the folded edge up. Put it along your cut line, and I'm going to line it up right with this groove right here, just to the right of the cutting mat. So see this little groove right there, right just to the right? That's where I'm going to be lining this up at. Okay, so it's going to be lined up right there, which is approximately 3/8. Okay, the full first line along here is the 1/2 inch. And I'll show you the difference in a minute. So I'm just going to take this, I'm going to eyeball it, cut it down to approximately here. Okay, just about right there. And then I'm going to turn it around. So see how it's given me this smaller piece, this smaller cut. I'll show you in a second. I'm going to turn it over, continue to keep the fold at the top, line the other side up to that little groove right there. And then I'm going to cut down to take this little triangle, which is squares, out of here. You can save these for another project if you want. But see how I put two together. So see how that is just like a 3/8 of an inch. This one is the 1/2 inch. So you can see how it's not really quite a bit bigger, but it looks quite a bit bigger. Just lining it up with the 1/2 inch line right there. This one is that 3/4 of an inch. This one is that 1/2 inch. So see here you have the difference in sizes. Here's the bigger one right here, which was lined up against the 1/2 inch. This one was lined up in that little groove right there. So see if I put this here, this one was lined up at the 1/2 inch mark, which made it bigger. Okay, so that's going to give you the two different sizes. So I've got those cut. I need to cut this one. So here again, make sure that the fold is on the top to the left. Okay, cut it, turn it around, make sure the fold is on the top. Line it up with that little groove and cut down. Okay, I'm going to do a few of the big ones. So this, the fold is at the top. Line it up about the 3 1/8 of an inch. Cut down. Make sure the fold, when you turn it over, is still on the top. Turn down. Okay, so that's going to be the bigger one. Line it up on the groove with the fold on the top. Turn it over, keep the fold on the top, and make sure you're lining it up on the same line. Okay, if you start at the 1/2 inch, you need to keep it at the 1/2 inch. There's that one, and here's this last one. Don't cut it all the way through, because then you're going to have to cut some more. Okay, so you only cut down to just that little section, just to where it's still at that the 1/4 of an inch right here. So don't cut it all the way down. See? Okay, now I got this one. Now we're going to put them together. So this is the bigger one. And these are going to go on the top. Now, when they go on the top, the square isn't the same size. So see how the top one, being the smaller one, it does come out a little further on this. So be careful when you're putting adhesive on it that you keep the adhesive close to the top of the one that's on the top, so then you don't have adhesive on the bottom. Okay, you can do it with it repositionable, or you can do it with just these little pieces on the regular tape runner. Okay, so just kind of keep it towards the top. If you get it all the way across on the bottom, no big deal. Just be aware that there's going to be adhesive sticking it to something else underneath. So just try to keep it there on the top. And I line up the pieces that have been folded together. Let's see, I need this side. And then I'm trying to match, just drawing a straight line down, corner to corner. And that will help you line it up. See, if you just try to take a straight line and like you're pretending you're drawing it straight across, keep the corners together, and then that little reveal will be the same size. Okay, so we're going to do a couple more because I've already got a couple done just for the sake of time. So just a little bit of adhesive on the top of these. Try to line up that fold line straight down with the corners. Okay, and the last one. Probably putting more than I need on here, but I do want those corners to stay down. Okay, and then lining it up, just trying to get the tips to match. Okay, and then we have 5. You can do this with as many as you want. The card that I saw had 3 on it, which was the perfect thing for, just a regular card. But since this is like a 12-inch border, you want to have a few more. Okay, so now I'm going to try to bring in this gold color. Not quite sure how this is going to work, but I'm only going to get like about a 1/2 inch piece on here. And that may be too big. So let me go down just a little bit from there, maybe like a 3/8 of an inch. Here again, this was just a scrap piece that I had laying around from something else. Okay. Now we're going to put it all together. We're going to line these up. Okay. And I want to put the tips on one of these lines. So if I want to put the tip like on this line right here on my cutting mat, that way I can make sure it's upright. I can just take tip to tip straight down on that line and know that it's straight. Okay. Then I'm going to take another one and I'm just going to move it over and make sure that this is on the line. So I'm moving it over about 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so it's giving it a little bit of space right here. There again, just adjust to where you think you are going to like it to be. Put a little bit of adhesive where they cross over. Okay, like that. So see how I've got it on the lines? This one straight up and down on the line. I moved it over about 3/4 of an inch. Now keep continuing to move it over about 3/4 of an inch. If it helps to move them to the bottom of your mat, because it's got all the other little lines on it, you can do that, or you can use just a ruler, whatever you would like to do on that. Okay, so now I'm going to get another one and I'm going to move it over about 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to adhere it down just underneath where it's crossing over on that other piece. Okay. You also want to make sure that these tips are matching up straight. Okay. And I think I have too much adhesive sticking out right there. So let me tuck this underneath. A little more. Okay. So we still have a little piece sticking out. Okay. Now this one is going to be the center one. So the next one I'm going to put underneath that center one. So I'm going to slide it under here. Okay. And I'm going to put it underneath everything underneath there. Okay. Underneath. Okay. Moving it over about 3/4 of an inch, giving it the same distance between them here, keeping it upright. So this one is back on a line. So I'm going to make sure it goes straight up and down. Okay, so now I'm going to adhere it underneath. And it moved right there. Pick up the wrong one. This one here. Okay, and now this is the last one. It again goes underneath and about 3/4 of an inch over. Making it straight. Lifting this up. A little adhesive there. I'm going to turn this one around. This one I'm gonna have to take that off. But it had a little piece that was not quite right here on this side. So I'm going to move it a little bit. Okay. Put this here. Take this off here. And move it over. Okay. So here we go. We have this one on the top, and we have these two going underneath, and then we have these two going underneath this side. Wow, isn't that cool? Okay, now I'm going to take this little strip. I'm going to go under the first one, over the second one, under the third one, and then over the center. Okay, so going all the way across over, underneath that one, over the second to last one, and then under the last one. Okay, and then I'm going to line them up kind of straight. Oh, that's pretty. I like how that turned out. Yeah, okay. So now I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to put the ends to end here, and then I'm going to move the top one over to where it's right on the 6 inches. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure that this is going straight across, kind of eyeballing the centers over here. And I moved it. Let's see, here we go. Okay, now I can adhere this down a little bit underneath each of these to keep this in place. Okay, I'm going to turn it around. It'll be easier to put the adhesive on here. Make sure that's pretty straight. Okay, and we're done. Pretty much. Now all I need to do is go find an embellishment from somewhere that will match this particular theme or match the colors of whatever page that I'm going to be doing. But there we go. What do you think? Let me know. You can do it either way. You can do it horizontal. You can do it vertical. Any way you want that you think is going to look nice on your page. But here's Croptoberfest, which I love. And we're all done. Okay, ladies, let me know what you think. This was super fun for me. And I was happy to share it with you. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your week, whatever day you're watching this video. And I will talk to you again next week. All right. Thank you so much. I will talk to you later. Bye.